Hi everyone. As you can see, I am one tired mama. Um, just wanted to give an update. So yes, we had a rough day. Um, there was lots of questions and stuff. Um, because he graduated in 2022. Um, I didn't know that nothing was done. Um, the services or the post high school stuff, the company that I was using didn't do a damn thing. Um, and it really sucked. I didn't know until now, his newest social worker, that nothing was done. Um, but there was errors on even her part, that nothing was done with. In New York, we have OPDW. I'm sure it's everywhere in the states, but OPDW, offices for people with disabilities or something like that. Um, and trying to just contact things now is not as easy as I'd hope. Even trying to get the I think it's called the Charles Evans Center here. I tried to contact them every time I try to call the office, and this is a place that is a non-for-profit that deals with the medical care for people with disabilities, autism being one of them. And I, every time I call, I'm on the waiting for like a half an hour easy, and I never get through. So that's a headache. Uh, we went to places that are. I went to places for him to do like a day hab, and none of them are skip certified. Which here, I guess in New York, I don't know if it's uh, all 50 states. I have no idea, but I'm guessing it's state to state. Skip certified is basically they can handle when he has meltdowns or behavior issues or whatever. They're trained and certified to do this. Because some people have had serious injuries. Some people with autism have had serious injuries because they went to a place that didn't know how to safely um, take care of them during their meltdown or whatever, or their time of crisis, and they got seriously injured. So I'm trying to make sure the place that he goes to is skip certified. I've been trying to push for him to go into a home for the plain and simple fact that I don't want my family to have to deal with this when I pass on. Um, that's Garfield. Something's caught his eye over there. Um, and I want to get it all done. Guardianship, don't even have it. Um, I paid my lawyer 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I paid for her to do the guardianship, and it never got done. The person that was doing it was her legal, what do they call those? Paralegals? He was a retired lawyer doing paralegal work, constantly sick, and I don't, okay, if he was constantly sick, you can't tell me you can't give it to somebody else to make sure it's done. I paid you in full. Well, 11 years later, it's not done, and I'm out $2,500 for guardianship. Add, because I live in New York, in a very red area of Long Island, which is pretty much all of Long Island. Well, no, Nassau and Suffolk County, not really Queens and stuff like that, but they kept saying, even though I had the papers saying that I had full custody of my son, um, they still wanted to contact the father to make sure me getting guardianship was enough. That sperm donor hasn't been in my son's life since he was pretty much, even when he was in his life, he wasn't in his life. So that's pretty much it. And now he's wherever he is. I don't know. On to his new conquest, whatever. I really don't care. I've been taking care of my son since day one. So that's another hiccup. Because people are like, well, why don't you have guardianship of him yet? Because I'm not a married woman. I've been a single mother all my life with him, all my son's life, shall I say. And I don't have that. So that kind of sucks, because that's another thing. And in the process of me doing this guardianship, I was going to put my sister and my niece on it, so that if something happens to me, it's already done. Nobody has to stress. They already have the guardianship with me, so that it can be pretty much a stress-free transition if I'm no longer on this earth. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk to you or prepare you for, is, what do you do when you're with your special needs child? And not just autism. If they have any type of disability, what do you do when you're no longer here? These are all the things that I'm dealing with. Today was a rough day. He did apologize, because when I had my breakdown, because I ended up hyperventilating and everything in the car, it was not pretty. When we got back home, I sent him upstairs. I went into my laundry room where the puppies are, my foster puppies, and I have it so that I can lock it from the inside, so he can't get into it, so that I have a safe place to be. And I stayed there for about a half an hour. And when I opened the door, he apologized. He looked me right in the eyes and he said he was sorry. He said, "I'm sorry, Mommy." I appreciate that, but it's the point of, how many times do I have to tell you that you shouldn't be hitting me? You shouldn't be hitting anybody, And I know it's because, I guess it's his comprehension, or I don't know. I don't know the terminology. It's been 28 years. I know there's so much new stuff now. I mean, I never even heard of autism level 1, 2, and 3 when my son was being diagnosed 28 years ago. 28 years ago? 27 years ago. So that's all new to me too. I'm sure there's new medications out there. I wouldn't know that, because I'm not getting the care that he's not getting the care he needs. I'm not getting the care I need. I'm looking for a place to diagnose me. I already got my diagnosis of ADHD. I've had that diagnosis for years. But I got re-diagnosed at 50 because I kept saying, I really should get tested for autism. I listened to some of my father's stories about the fact that they had a hard time putting me to bed every night. I had some quirks. I definitely had fears. And he said a lot of it to the fact that I was born in Vietnam during the war. I came here at 9 months old. I can't imagine that traumatizing me that much. It just, a lot of things I'm seeing now, especially with a lot of places like Serenity, Wolf Hornsbaum, and Taylor Heaton, and Orion, and other autistic adults that I'm seeing now, I can relate to them so much. But, so yeah, I'm in the process of trying to figure it out myself. And I mean, obviously I'm high masking, you can see that. But I have my quirks. ADHD is definitely there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But today was a meltdown, and I have only had them a few times in my late adult life. My mid-adult life? I don't know. Had it all the time when I was younger. The meltdowns, I couldn't control. I couldn't regulate my emotions. I would cry. I would have fits. It was never pretty. And I also would get super angry. Not like my son, but my father mentioned that his father, even him, and other family members have mentioned about their having severe anger issues and how they get really volatile. So it makes me wonder, but then again, autism is hereditary, so who knows? But I'm looking at the autism. I was told when my son was getting diagnosed in 1998, Stony Brook Hospital here in Long Island had Dr. John Pomeroy. He was the leading psychiatrist for autism back in the 90s. Came from England, was brilliant, basically. When he diagnosed my son, back then it was autism, NOS, so not otherwise specified, which was, I guess, was the ICD-10 code. Um, Now it's, they got levels. Who knew? Um, but when he was getting diagnosed, and I mentioned, kind of questioning if it was hereditary, because the sperm donor had a lot of symptoms as well. And he said to me that day that it's hereditary. This was 27 years ago. It's hereditary, and usually the mother. So I should have probably got myself tested then, and I just didn't think of it. But again, they didn't really do much for adults with autism. They still don't now. They really don't have the services, and they don't have medical institutions that cater to like all the care. It's like basically autistic person turns 18 and it's zip. You get nothing. You get no services, you get nothing. And that's kind of crazy. And with this political environment we have now, I don't expect much. Not that I'm saying we need, no, I do say we need psychiatric hospitals, and we need some type of institutionalization, but not for autistic people. More for the ones that are non-compliant with their meds and that are a danger not only to themselves but to others. Not that my son isn't, but anyway, yeah. Now he just woke up because I medicated him big time when I got home. I do use marijuana edibles because there's been studies to show that it works really well with people with autism, and being that it's legal here in New York and he is not a child, he is 28 years old, I started getting it for him, and it works so much better than any meds. I'm dealing with cat hair right now because cat hair is flying everywhere. It's been proven to work, and it works perfectly on him. Perfectly. Even the CBD stuff, I try to have that on hand. I don't always have it on hand, but I try to. Because for him to go through medication adjustments and stuff like that, it's going to take a while to find what works again. Because I'm sure he's due for it, but then again, I need to find a place that's going to take care of him. He just got reevaluated because it needed to be done to get him all the services that he needs. And surprise, surprise, he has autism still. But that place didn't do any further services. It was evaluations, and that was pretty much it. And I think it does a disservice to people with disabilities of all kinds that there is not doctors' offices or anything like that that does full-on care, like especially after 18. Not many. It's not as easy as it should be, and it should be. It really should be, because it's not just autism. It's people with Tourette's. It's people with, other learning disabilities, physical disabilities, whatever. There should be a place to help them. That shouldn't be so hard. And because, the surgery center had no idea how to handle him. The anesthesiologist wanted to. He basically washed his hands of it. Because I mentioned about pre-medicating him, and he's like, I can't do that here. And that's what I was told by my primary, that they can. So I just got myself, screwed regardless of what I did. And it was a procedure. It would have been a quick, total of 15-minute procedure. He has a sty that just hasn't gone away. And yes, it goes away on its own, but he kept complaining about it. So I was like, well, let's try to get it done. I had mine done in the office. But anyway, so that's the update. I went over to my friend Jackie's house for a little bit and decompressed with her dog. I took a nap today. He took a nap. He just woke up, and now he's eating pizza. And I know he's definitely, because of the medication I gave him, he's definitely sedated. He's calmer. And I know he'll be pretty much a pussycat for the rest of the night. I know partially it had to do with he was hungry too, and he's a diabetic on top of it. So for him not to have eaten that's another issue. I know diabetics don't do well if their blood sugar is low or too high. But for him, it was probably low because he was probably hangry. Um, so that was another thing. The reason why I don't call what happened to him a meltdown, because he had total awareness of what was happening. He his he didn't one he hasn't cried in years, and lost all ability to function. That's to me what his meltdowns used to be. This and other times that he's hit me, he's had total awareness of what was going on. He hits me like a 2-year-old would. Like when a 2-year-old can't verbalize what they need, they hit you out of frustration. The problem is he's a 28-year-old man. So, and the fact that he's repeatedly hitting me, I'm getting injured. And, he has put people in the hospital when he was going to school. And I don't want that for myself. I'm on blood thinners. I have, I can't afford, I'm bruised all over the place. I can't afford to get hit, especially on the head or something like that, by him. And I worry about my mother. She's 85 years old. She's an amputee. I don't want her getting hurt. I have my cousin living with me. I don't want her getting hurt. I don't want the animals getting hurt. He's pretty good about not hurting them, but I never know if he would. I don't 100% trust. I know he really loves his cats. And he loves the cats in the sanctuary. He even likes the puppies. He prefers older dogs like I do, because they're mellower. But, so it's basically something that we're working on. Well, I didn't realize it was 17 minutes already. But anyway, thank you for all the kind words, and hopefully tomorrow's a new day and we can get something better out of it, and just move forward from today's fiasco. Anyway, have a good night, y'all.